briefly? Someone back there. It's all right. That one, can you turn on the lights, please? So basically, I don't know, I think you've had other people in here that kind of like give you a little background, but in order to sell your ideas, you come up with a book, a little book that kind of comes with, you know, your plan, your project pitch, table of contents, your script, your color palette, you know, the colors that you're planning on sort of doing, you know, that will go with everything. All the things that you're planning on using, your props, all your stuff, and the style of shots that you're thinking of. I mean, you guys, everybody nowadays has a digital camera, but these things are super important, you know, to a filmmaker. I mean, just to always have them, because you never know when you'll need one. But these are like super important, you know, everything, you know, it's like, oh, you never know when you'll be, when you'll see something and be like, oh my God, like, that image is what caused me to think of this whole idea. And what it was transparency. It's not very clear in this because there's still some motion work that needs to be done. But what the piece was about was not to try to hit it over the heads of these people. And transparency, let me tell you about Transparency International. I don't know if you guys know, but it's a NGO. It's an NGO out of Berlin, and what they do is I found this thing through a friend of mine who was like, he's like, oh, this is the next big thing. It's transparency, which is like governments that are, you know, like not corrupt, or they monitor corruption around the world. Transparency.org does, and you'll notice that like you would think that America would be up there somewhere, like close to number one. Number one, I guess, is like Denmark or Norway, and like U.S. is like number 37, and, you know, as far as corruption and sort of things. But just trying to bring awareness to the fact that, you know, in this world, politicians are corrupt. And so that's what I was sort of like intrigued by. And then there was also Marcel Duchamp. I don't know if you guys know him. He's like a guy out of you know, in the 20s and 30s, surrealist out of France. And he'd done a book cover for Cacchiers d'Art, which was like the French cinema book or whatever, and it was these two colors, this blue and this red. And I don't know if you guys know, but have you ever seen that blue, that when your TV screen goes blue, like after a VCR or something, that blue, if you look at it long enough, will turn red, because it has the same color temperature in your eyes, which means that it just sort of is like, it's playing with your eyes. Your eyes don't notice it, but this cut is not done. This is a cut that was just for deadline, because I needed a bunch of motion work. And the motion work was supposed to be the metaphor for transparency, or for corruption, is this big veil, which is the net. And the net in the game starts going slower and slower to the point that they can't play anymore, because that net is like this big, and you can't see through it. So what I'm in need of is actually motion people. I don't know if you guys are motion people. But that would make the net thicker, you can't see through it, it gets larger. But basically it's all here in the animatic when you try to pitch this to somebody. And then instead of just talking about it, you actually are going, this, they can look at it and go, oh, okay, like, you know, it's like, it's very organized and very sort of set up. And that's how I want this big to do this. And then you can tell here that they're playing, and then you see this going up. But that was way too difficult. That's another motion shot. I have to actually have somebody draw a net, like get bigger and badder and whatever. But it's, you know, it's just one of those things that in this city, you gotta pay for it. You gotta pay somebody to do it, because it's not easy. And then you can see everything else, like the foot shots, these shots, you know, the facial, you know, sort of things. You know, just basically that's it. That's one of these. I was gonna pass this around, but you guys are so far away. And but I mean, you know, the kind of that's just one of the things of like, if you're trying to pitch, and she's told you as well, and I know Matt is as well, is that, you know, animatics and things visually that allow people to like search in and find out what you're really trying to, what it is you're really trying to do is something that you're trying to communicate. Because what you're trying to do is have somebody pay for your projects, you know, because you just can't do them. I mean, those two projects were 35 millimeter, those past three projects were all 35 millimeter. And that was just like 2 rolls of film, and that was like at least $2,500. You know, when it comes to, that's not renting the cameras, that's just the stock, you know, and developing it, you know, transferring it and all this stuff and going through telecine. But nowadays, you know, a lot of people are not shooting on that. You know, you can buy a camera that's like, you know, pretty decent. But the whole thing is that going over these images, this next example is another sort of a visual, how to pre-visualize the story. If you're trying to do, this one's, let's see, a music video for a Friends band. All of the music that you've heard in here is all Friends stuff. This particular band, they're from LA, and they've been around for 10 years, and they sing in Spanish. They're from Colombia. They're from LA, but they're Colombian Mexican. And what they do is they sing the song, and I was just like, I was in a class, and it was a pre-visualizing the story, where basically you get all those images and what you're trying to do, and kind of like you're breaking it down to see like these are ideas for the story, and then you put them in there with whatever you're trying to do. So I'll play some more of that as well. You can bring the lights down. This is another animatic, and I might fast forward through some of this. You don't have to see the whole thing, but. When he comes to town, he's the one who's just like, when he comes in, he's like the truck driver. And when he comes, he's just like, you know, the song says that like all women just